Welcome back to DFC Books. Today we're diving deep, really deep, into a cornerstone of literature, Sophocles' Oedipus Rex.
It really is the tragedy, isn't it? Often called perfect, and for good reason. It's this relentless machine.
Exactly. Built from fate, maybe hubris, definitely this unstoppable search for truth. And our mission today isn't just, a quick plot summary. Many of you probably know the basics.
Right. We want to do a detailed excavation, really walk through the whole play.
Yeah, look closely at the characters, how the plot actually works, point by point, and unpack that devastating irony that makes it hit so hard.
And that irony, I think, is Sophocles' genius, right? For, 2,500 years, it's been the exploration of, human action versus fate, or divine will.
Every single thing Oedipus does seems rational, heroic even. He's trying to save himself, save his city.
But every single step just locks him deeper into the doom that was predicted before he was even, not before he was born, but at his birth.
It's like you're watching someone build their own cage. Meticulously. Out of good intentions. It's chilling.
It is. You're not just watching someone fall into a trap. He makes the trap.
So let's set the stage, the starting point. It begins way before the play actually opens, with that first oracle given to Laius, the king of Thebes. What was that initial prophecy?
It was incredibly specific.
Yeah.
And horrifying. The oracle told Laius that any son born to him and his wife, Jocasta, was fated to kill him, Laius, his own father.
And then marry his mother, Jocasta.
Yes. And their attempt to get around this, to dodge the prophecy, that's really the first domino to fall.
They try to use human reason, mortal action, against this divine word.
Precisely. So when the baby boy is born, they pierce his ankles, pin him together. That's where the name Oedipus comes from, swollen foot.
Right.
And then they order a servant to leave him on Mount Cithaeron to die. Exposure, basically.
A seemingly rational act of self-preservation from their perspective.
Absolutely. But of course, the irony is overwhelming because that act is what guarantees the prophecy happens.
Because the baby doesn't die.
No. He's found, passed along shepherd to shepherd, and eventually ends up miles away in Corinth.
Where he's adopted by King Polybus and Queen Merope, who are childless.
And he grows up there, believing he's their natural son, the Prince of Corinth. So when the play actually starts, we meet this Oedipus, who's already famous. He's a hero.
He's already saved Thebes once before from the Sphinx.
Right. He shows up, solves her riddle, this impossible riddle that was terrorizing the city.
For solving it, he gets the rewards. The throne, which was vacant because Laius had been killed, and the hand of the widowed queen, Jocasta, his mother, though he has no idea.
And the tragedy there is just staggering. His greatest triumph, this intellectual feat, solving the riddle about man.
Walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evening.
That one, he solved it, but he didn't recognize himself in the answer. His victory is built completely on ignorance of who he really is.
That's the setup. He's the world-renowned king, the savior, married to Jocasta, has children with her. Things seem okay.
For a while, maybe, but that piece is about to shatter. The play opens right in the thick of it. A huge crisis. Which brings us to, let's call it, Thebes in crisis and the oracle's command.
And the imagery Sophocles uses here is just visceral. The city is sick, dying.
It's not just a metaphor. He paints this picture of total blight. You have crowds of suppliants carrying olive branches, pleading outside the palace.
It isn't just a few worried people. It's overwhelming.
No, it's systemic decay. The crops are failing, the herds are dying, women can't give birth successfully. It's like the city itself is rotting.
A miasma, pollution.
Exactly. The priest says the god of plague is emptying the city, and Hades, the underworld, is getting rich with groans and tears. It's grim.
And they come to Oedipus specifically because he saved them before. He's their proven hero, their happy star.
Right. They see him as maybe not a god, but definitely the first of men. Someone whose wit, perhaps divinely inspired, got them out of trouble last time.
Which puts incredible pressure on him. And it plays right into his character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
His pride in his own ability to solve problems, to act decisively.
Absolutely. And he responds immediately. He tells the priest, look, I feel this pain more than any of you. I suffer for the whole city.
And he's already taken action. He reveals he sent Creon, Jocasta's brother, his brother-in-law,
A trusted advisor.
to Delphi, to Apollo's shrine, to ask the god for guidance. Which shows good leadership, right? Seeking divine help.
It does. But then Creon returns, and the news he brings shifts everything. Suddenly, it's not about a generic plague anymore.
No, it becomes a murder investigation. A cold case.
Creon reports that Apollo says the plague is a miasma, a pollution caused by shed blood, an unavenged crime.
Specifically, the murder of Laius, the king before Oedipus.
Yes, and the god's command is crystal clear. Find the killer, or killers, and you'll banish them or execute them, shedding blood for blood. That's the only way to cleanse the land.
The problem, as Oedipus points out, is that this happened years ago. It's ancient history almost.
And there was apparently only one survivor from Laius's traveling party. And this survivor came back with a very specific story.
This is crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. The survivor claimed Laius wasn't killed by a single person, but by a whole group. Robbers, plural. A troop of knaves.
Plural. That detail becomes Oedipus's lifeline later on.
It does. But back then, the investigation got completely sidelined. The Sphinx showed up right after Laius's death, and the city had a much more immediate monster to deal with.
So finding Laius's killer kind of fell by the wayside. Understandable, maybe?
Understandable, but fateful. And now Oedipus, the Sphinx solver, declares he will find the truth. He takes charge.
And this is where he makes that incredibly powerful and deeply ironic vow. He pronounces a curse on the killer.
He does. He says whoever the killer is, whether one man or many, may he wear out his life in misery. And crucially,
He adds that if this killer is living in his own house, even sharing his hearth with his knowledge.
then the curse I laid on others fall on me. He basically curses himself without having any idea he's doing it.
It's chilling. He thinks he's serving justice, protecting himself from a potential assassin.
Right. He reasons the killer might target him next. It's logical.
But he's actually sealing his own doom. His determination, his zeal for justice, these are the very things driving him towards the cliff.
And that righteous determination leads him straight to the next phase. Character conflict and the blind prophecy. He needs answers, and there's only one person in Thebes who might have them.
Tiresias, the blind prophet.
A fascinating figure. Blind, yet he sees things others can't. He knows the hidden mysteries, as Oedipus calls them, both divine and earthly secrets.
So Oedipus summons him, sees him as the city's one defense and shield.
And the confrontation between them, it's electric. It's the clash between Oedipus, the man of action and intellect, and Tiresias, the man of divine, perhaps unwelcome insight.
Tiresias doesn't want to be there, does he?
Not at all. He arrives already lamenting. He says something like, "How terrible is wisdom when it brings no profit to the wise." He knows the truth is poison.
He tries to protect Oedipus.
It seems so. He refuses to speak at first. He tells Oedipus to just bear his own burden, essentially let it go.
But Oedipus doesn't let things go. He gets angry, fast. He sees the reluctance as betrayal.
Exactly. His temper flares. He accuses Tiresias of knowing something and deliberately hiding it, maybe even of being involved in the plot to kill Laius.
He even suggests that if Tiresias weren't blind, he might have done the deed himself.
It's a terrible accusation born of frustration and suspicion. Oedipus is thinking politically, criminally. He can't grasp the divine dimension yet.
And pushing Tiresias like that,
Right.
well, it backfires spectacularly.
It does. The prophet, stung by the accusations, finally drops the bombshell, utterly direct. "Thou art the man," he says to Oedipus. "Thou the accursed polluter of this land."
Boom, right there. Early in the play, the whole mystery solved.
Sophocles lays it all out. That's the genius. It's not a whodunit. We know who did it. The drama is watching Oedipus refuse to see it and then slowly, agonizingly come to recognize it.
Because Oedipus's reaction is immediate disbelief and fury. He doesn't accept it for a second.
No, he doubles down on the conspiracy theory. He calls Tiresias a juggling charlatan, a beggar priest, clearly working for Creon.
He accuses Creon of plotting to steal his throne, using Tiresias as his mouthpiece.
And he throws his own past success back in Tiresias' face. "Where were you when the Sphinx was here? I solved that riddle with my own wits, not with any help from birds or gods like you claim."
It's pure hubris, isn't it? That absolute confidence in his own intellect over anything else.
Textbook hubris. And Tiresias, now fully provoked, doesn't hold back either. He lays out the entire curse in chilling detail. Predictions Oedipus will remember later, when it's too late.
He tells him you have eyes, but you don't see the misery you're in. You don't see where you live or who you live with.
Oof. Yeah. He says Oedipus is living in shameful union with those nearest to him, unknowingly. That he's a foe to his own kin, both the living and the dead.
And he predicts Oedipus will be driven out of Thebes, blind, poor, feeling his way with a stick.
And the final terrible twist. He prophesies that this killer, currently thought a foreigner, will be revealed as a native Theban, and he'll be proved brother and sire to his own children.
And son and husband both to the woman who gave him birth.
It's all there. Patricide, incest, the whole horrific truth spelled out.
But Oedipus is still completely locked onto the idea of a political plot. He hears treason, not prophecy.
Tiresias offers sight, but Oedipus refuses to see. His anger is his blindness now, far worse than Tiresias's physical condition.
And that paranoia immediately spills over onto Creon, which takes us to political intrigue and Jocasta's skepticism.
Right. Oedipus is convinced Creon hired Tiresias to frame him. He confronts Creon publicly, accusing him of treason.
Creon is understandably furious. He appeals to the chorus, the elders, protesting his innocence, and his defense is actually very compelling.
It's incredibly logical. Cold, rational politics versus Oedipus's hot-headed accusations. Creon basically says, why would I possibly want your job?
He points out he already has power and influence without the stress. He shares the rule with Oedipus and Jocasta. He gets all the perks of royalty, the access, the honor without the sleepless nights and the constant fear.
Yeah, he asks, why trade the substance he already holds for the shadow of absolute rule with all its anxieties? It makes no sense.
He even tells Oedipus, if you don't believe me, go back to Delphi yourself and check if I reported the oracle correctly. He appeals to evidence, to time revealing the truth.
But Oedipus is too far gone in his rage and suspicion. He wants Creon dead or banished immediately. He sees delay as weakness.
It's only the intervention of the chorus, the elders pleading for reason, that makes Oedipus back down, grudgingly. He spares Creon, but the suspicion lingers.
And right into this tense standoff walks Jocasta. She arrives trying to be the peacemaker between her husband and her brother.
When she finds out the argument stems from Tiresias's prophecy, she tries to calm Oedipus down by dismissing prophecy entirely.
Yes, this is her fatal contribution. To soothe Oedipus, she declares that no human possesses any real prophetic skill. Hath Scot or lot in the prophetic art, is the phrase, I think.
And to prove her point, she tells a story. The story.
She recounts the oracle given to her first husband, Laius, that he would die by the hand of his own son.
And she explains the steps they took to prevent it, pinning the baby's ankles,
leaving him on the mountain to die.
And then she adds how Laius actually died years later, according to her, killed by highwaymen.
Crucially,
at a place where three roads meet, in Phocis.
Her conclusion is meant to be triumphant. See, the oracle was wrong. The baby died. Laius was killed by strangers. Prophecy is meaningless. Don't worry about Tiresias.
But every single detail she offers as proof against prophecy, it strikes Oedipus like a physical blow.
It's the slow-motion peripeteia, the reversal. Her words, meant to comfort, unleash a wild tumult in his soul. The location where three roads meet resonates horribly.
He starts questioning her intensely, almost clinically. Where exactly was it? When did it happen? What did Laius look like?
And her answers just tighten the noose. Phocis, where the roads from Delphi and Daulis diverge. The timing just before Oedipus himself arrived in Thebes and became king. Laius's appearance, tall, graying hair, and chillingly, not unlike the inform.
Oh, that line.
It's brutal. And the final detail, the number of people with Laius, 5 in total, including a herald. Laius himself was in a carriage.
Oedipus is reeling. He whispers, methinks unwittingly I laid, but now a dread curse on myself. The possibility hits him. He might be the killer he just cursed.
This terror forces him to reveal his own story, his secrets, which leads us into Oedipus's backstory and the hope that fails. He tells Jocasta everything.
He confirms his upbringing in Corinth, son of Polybus and Merope, but then the doubt planted years ago.
Yes, at that banquet, some drunk accuses him. You're not your father's son.
That accusation gnawed at him, enough to make him go to Delphi himself, secretly.
He went seeking answers about his parents, but Apollo didn't give him that. Instead, the god gave him that prophecy. You will kill your father. You will sleep with your mother.
Horrifying. And what does Oedipus do? The rational thing, the seemingly noble thing.
He runs. He flees Corinth immediately to protect Polybus and Merope, the only parents he knows. He becomes a wanderer to ensure that fate never comes true for them.
His act of love and duty sends him away from safety, right towards
that crossroads in Phocis. And on his journey, trying to escape destiny, he encounters a group exactly matching Jocasta's description.
A herald, an old man in a carriage, attendants.
And the encounter itself. It sounds like road rage, almost. They try to push him off the path. The old man, Laius, hits him with a goad, a sharp stick.
And Oedipus, with his famous temper.
He snaps, strikes back hard with his own staff, knocks Laius out of the carriage, and slew them every one, just like that. Patricide committed in a moment of anger on the road.
He sees it now. The horrifying connection. He might be the killer, the polluter of the land, the man he cursed.
His self-loathing is immediate.
Who more miserable than I? What mortal could you find more God-abhorred?
But there's still that one tiny discrepancy, that thread of hope. The number of killers. Jocasta originally heard and reported that Laius was killed by robbers, plural.
Right. Oedipus clings to this desperately. If that one surviving servant, the herdsman, sticks to the story of many attackers, then Oedipus, who acted alone, cannot be Laius's murderer.
The curse on the killer wouldn't apply to him in the same way. The miasma might not be his fault. It's a fragile hope, but it's all he has.
He needs the herdsman's testimony to confirm the plural. One man cannot be the same as many, he reasons.
It's a lawyerly distinction, almost, born of sheer terror.
And Jocasta, incredibly, is still trying to dismiss it all. She tells him even if the herdsman changes his story about the robbers, the original prophecy about Laius being killed by his son still failed because the baby died, remember?
She's doubling down on her skepticism. She even gives that horrifying advice about not worrying about the other part of his oracle, the part about his mother.
Yeah, saying many men have dreamed of wedding their mothers, tells him to live carelessly from hand to mouth, just as the final pieces are about to fall into place.
The timing is just. Exquisite torment.
They agree to send for the herdsman, the final witness.
But before the herdsman can arrive, someone else does, a messenger from Corinth. And his arrival triggers the final, shattering revelations.
This is classic Sophoclean irony again. The messenger arrives with what should be good news, relief even.
He announces that Polybus, the king of Corinth, Oedipus' supposed father, is dead.
And crucially, he died of old age and illness, natural causes.
Oedipus and Jocasta are initially overjoyed. They see it as definitive proof. The prophecy about Oedipus killing his father is broken.
Oedipus literally laughs at the oracles. Where's your power now?
He taunts. Jocasta feels completely vindicated. See, I told you prophecy was worthless.
She urges him again. Forget Merope. Why fear sleeping with your mother now?
But Oedipus, he's still uneasy about Merope. That part of the oracle still haunts him. As long as she lives, he feels he can't go back to Corinth.
And it's that lingering fear that prompts the messenger to deliver the final, fatal truths. He wants to reassure Oedipus, maybe hoping for a reward if Oedipus returns to Corinth.
So he tells Oedipus his fear of marrying Merope is baseless, completely unfounded. Because Polybus and Merope, they weren't his biological parents at all. Polybus was not to thee in blood.
Oedipus was adopted, a foundling.
Exactly, and the messenger should know, because he was the very shepherd who brought the baby Oedipus to Polybus and Merope all those years ago.
No.
Yes. He explains he didn't find the baby himself, but received him as a gift from another shepherd.
On Mount Cithaeron.
On Mount Cithaeron. And he mentions the baby's feet pinned together. Those ankle joints are evidence now, he says. He even says he was the one who undid the pin. He confirms the name. Oedipus, swollen foot.
At this point, Jocasta gets it. All of it. The mountain, the feet, the other shepherd. It clicks.
She knows who that other shepherd must be. She desperately tries to stop Oedipus now. Says him, for the love of God, stop asking. Your life is on the line.
But Oedipus misunderstands her panic, doesn't he?
Completely. He thinks she's worried he'll be revealed as lowborn, the son of a slave, perhaps. He says something like, whatever my origins, your honor as queen isn't stained. He's obsessed with finding the truth of his birth now, no matter the cost.
And Jocasta realizes it's hopeless. She gives him that final chilling line, "Oh, woe is thee, poor wretch. With that last word I leave thee, henceforth silent evermore." And she rushes into the palace.
She knows. And the audience knows that exit is final. But Oedipus presses on, still thinking it's about social status.
He insists on bringing in the final witness, the herdsman, the very same man who survived the attack at the crossroads all those years ago.
The confrontation is unbearable. The old herdsman knows everything and wants desperately not to speak.
He resists, denies, claims ignorance, until Oedipus threatens him with torture, pain, or death.
The Corinthian messenger recognizes him instantly. This is the man who gave me the child on Cithaeron.
Forced to speak, the herdsman cracks. He admits he gave the child away. He wishes he died that day.
Oedipus demands, whose child was it? Where did it come from?
And the herdsman confesses. It was a child from Laius' household.
So given to him by...
And Jocasta herself, Laius' wife, the queen.
Why?
To kill it, because of a terrible prophecy. that the child would kill his parents.
But the herdsman couldn't do it. He pitied the baby, so he gave him to the Corinthian shepherd instead.
Thinking he was saving him. But he saved him only for this. Saved him from misery.
And Oedipus makes the final connection himself. He was that baby, the baby from Laius' house, given away because of the prophecy, found, adopted, fled Corinth, killed Laius, married Jocasta.
The whole terrible loop closes. He sees it all. The anagnorisis, the recognition.
He cries out, oh, all revealed, all true. Oh, light, may I never look on you again. I stand a wretch in birth and wedlock cursed, the parasite, incestuously, triply cursed.
And he rushes off stage into the palace towards the horror we know awaits, leaving the chorus and the audience utterly shattered.
Which brings us, inevitably, to the catastrophe and the aftermath. Sophocles cleverly uses a second messenger to report the horrors happening inside. Keeps the worst violence off stage, but the description.
It's harrowing. The messenger comes out distraught and says,
Our sovereign lady, Queen Jocasta, is dead.
No.
She ran straight to her bridal chamber, their marriage bed, tearing her hair, screaming Laius' name, lamenting the double brood, husband from husband, children from her child. Utter despair.
And she hanged herself, found hanging by a noose.
Yes. And just as they find her, Oedipus bursts in. He's raging, demanding a sword, asking, where is the wife that was no wife? Looking for the womb that bore him and his children.
He sees Jocasta's body
And lets out a terrible cry. He takes the golden brooches, the pins fastening her royal robes, symbols of their marriage,
and uses them
to stab his own eyes out again and again. The messenger describes blood streaming down, a black, gory downpour, thick as hail.
The symbolism is just shattering. The man who prided himself on sight, on seeing solutions, blinds himself because his physical eyes failed to see the truth.
Exactly. And his reasoning, as reported later, is that he couldn't bear to look upon his parents in Hades after what he'd done, or look upon his children, the living proof of his crimes.
He can't face the world he's created or the world that created him. He wants darkness, oblivion. He wants to wall himself up inside his own body.
The once brilliant king, the seer who solved the riddle, is now blind, fulfilling Tiresias' prophecy to the letter. He's brought back out onto the stage, a truly broken figure.
And Creon returns. The man Oedipus had accused and threatened, now he's in charge. The sole ruler.
And Creon shows remarkable dignity, actually. No, I told you so. He orders Oedipus taken inside, away from the public gaze, shows pity and respect for the fallen king, and for the sanctity of such suffering.
Oedipus, though, he begs Creon for exile. He wants to be cast out, sent him out in Citharon, the place his parents intended for his death originally. He wants to fulfill that part of his destiny.
Creon is cautious. He agrees Jocasta deserves burial rites, but for Oedipus's fate exile, he says he needs to consult the god again, Apollo. He won't act solely on Oedipus's self-condemnation. It's a mark of his prudent leadership, perhaps.
And then, perhaps the most heartbreaking moment of the aftermath. Creon brings Oedipus's young daughters, Antigone and Ismene, out to him.
Oh, that scene is just devastating. Oedipus can't see them, only touch them, and his final thoughts are entirely for them, for their ruined future.
He knows his disgrace will poison their lives. Who will marry the daughters of that union? They'll be shunned, isolated, forced to live barren lives because of his actions, his fate.
He weeps for the misery that awaits them, misery he can foresee but cannot prevent. It shows the curse continuing, rippling outwards to the innocent.
He begs Creon to be their father now, to protect them, because they have no one else. It's a complete surrender of his own role.
Creon agrees to care for them and finally leads the blind, broken Oedipus away. But not before delivering that final, cautionary wisdom.
What does he say? It sums up so much.
He tells Oedipus essentially, crave not mastery in all, for the mastery that raised thee was thy bane and wrought thy fall. Your greatest strength, your drive to control and succeed, was the very thing that destroyed you.
Wow. A powerful end to the action. So, looking back at this whole devastating story, the big question always comes up, doesn't it? Fate versus free will.
It's the classic interpretation, yeah. And the play makes a very strong case for the power, the inescapability of fate in that ancient Greek worldview. Oedipus tries so hard using his free will fleeing Corinth, solving the riddle, investigating the murder.
All rational choices.
Totally rational.
Right.
But every single choice just pushes him faster and or directly towards the exact destiny the oracle laid out. His free will becomes the very mechanism through which fate operates.
What I find so brilliant is Sophocles' use of dramatic irony. He tells us the answer almost immediately through Tiresias, so the tension isn't who did it, it's when and how will Oedipus figure it out.
Exactly. It becomes a study in denial. We watch him circle closer and closer, piece by agonizing piece.
And the chorus plays a key role too, right? They're not just singing interludes.
Not at all. They're like the voice of the community, the ordinary Theban citizens reacting in real time. They admire Oedipus, then they're confused, then horrified. They ground the tragedy. They remind us how fragile human fortune is.
Which really brings us to the core themes. The sheer scale of human suffering, especially when it comes from self-discovery, from learning who you really are.
You see it in Jocasta's desperate attempt to live carelessly, free from divine dictates, only to be crushed by the truth. You see it in Tiresias, burdened by knowledge he doesn't want to share.
And, ultimately, in Oedipus himself, the king who thought he could outsmart fate, brought to absolute ruin. The self-blinding is such a potent symbol of that.
It really is. The eyes that failed to see the truth inwardly are destroyed physically. He gains inner knowledge, gnosis, only at the cost of literal sight and everything else.
It makes you think about knowledge itself. Is ignorance bliss, or is facing the truth, however terrible, the only way? Sophocles seems to suggest the truth will out, one way or another. There's no real escape.
I think that's right. Which leads us to that final chilling thought the play leaves us with. It comes from the chorus, watching Oedipus's fate and applying it universally.
What's their final warning?
They basically say, look at Oedipus. Therefore, never count any mortal happy until they've reached the end of their life without suffering grief. Therefore, wait to see life's ending ere thou count one mortal blessed. Wait till free from pain and sorrow he has gained his final rest.
A stark reminder. No matter how high you climb, how smart or successful you seem, disaster can still strike. Your fortune isn't secure until you're dead.
And in Oedipus's case, the very things that made him great, his intelligence, his decisiveness, his determination, were precisely the engines of his downfall, a meticulously constructed tragedy.
A truly profound and disturbing work. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Sophocles' Oedipus Rex.
Always a pleasure to revisit this one, however painful.
We look forward to exploring the next set of sources with you.